Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination, are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Remember the fallen host, Sergeant Dave. After the survival instincts of a 10-ton transport vehicle rollover accident in the Parwan province of Afghanistan in 2004, he emerges and returns to the state.
I'm back with a vengeance. I'm Sergeant Dave with the Remember the Fallen show, where we will be drilling down on topics like the effects of Agent Orange on our Vietnam veterans, veteran suicide, the Conundrum of Kill 22, the flip side of the coin on the rules of engagement, Judicial Watch, and much, much more for the intriguing mind.
Indeed, as he navigates through the bureaucracy from returning veterans from the global war on terrorism, he gains a new perspective and a renaissance that he'll share with you. A compelling fever of enthusiasm to all patriots across the windswept fields of America the Beautiful.
Welcome to Remember the Fallen show with Sergeant Dave. I want to thank KLRN Radio for having us on the show, and I also want to just represent a great people person out there that's out there in the trenches, who's out there in front of the people doing her job, what she does best. I want to be able to introduce is Kathy Costas. We call her Chaplain Kathy. She's my guest today, and she's author, editor, and publisher of Combat PTSD Wounded Times. Pull it up on Facebook, pull it up, Google it, and she handles the PTSD Patrol. She's an award-winning chaplain, PTSD site and volunteer. Kathy has focused on PTSD since 1982. That's a long time, folks, and has tracked news and government reports for Wounded Times since 2007. So we have a pioneer who handled PTSD long before it was really recognized. She was introduced to it when it was called shell shock. Oh, yeah, so she's been there. Okay, so Kathy is focused on all these challenges, and go out and see her articles on the site. She has over 29,000 articles on the site. She's also produced over 200 videos. She also has worked with current military members, veterans, members of law enforcement, and firefighters, as well as their families. And Kathy is also state coordinator of Point Man International Ministries for Florida. Yeah, all that, and she is often introduced, and now I will introduce her as the most famous person you never heard of. And here we have Kathy Costas, Chaplain Kathy. Take it over, Kathy.
Thank you for having me, Dave. This is going to be a great show, and hopefully we're going to clear up a whole lot of stuff that is being messed up left and right. And oh, by the way, listeners, yes, I'm a chaplain, but I hang out with bikers, and as such, I drink, I smoke, I swear, and right now I just want to clear up a lot of the bullshit that's out there. So hope you stick with us, and I hope that we can answer a lot of questions that need to be addressed.
All right, Kat, it's great to have you on our show, and today's show is going to be focused on the Conundrum of Kill 22. How do they come up with these numbers, Kathy? Because they just don't add up.
Well, they don't add up for a reason, starting with they didn't read the report. If they read the report, they would have known those numbers came from the VA, numbers they know about, and it was from 21 states. Limited data in the report stated clearly, do not use this in general. The other thing that they would have known about is that if they had read the report, they would have known that 65% of the veterans committing suicide that they do know about are over the age of 50. None of these new groups that popped up across the country are talking about any of the older veterans waiting longer for help, needing the most help, their families, or anything else. They're all focused on Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. And oh, by the way, what good does it do to let veterans know they're killing themselves when, guess what? That's one thing they do know how to do.
You know, sadly enough, Kathy, you are right with that. And it's pretty tough when you are a soldier and you experienced it, and then you see the toughest guys, and all of a sudden they go down in this black hole, and you can't get a hold of them anymore. And I thought it might have had a part to do with when they came back from overseas, they gave these soldiers 90 days off. So they had $20,000 in the bank, right, Kathy? And they say, hey, go have fun for 90 days, right? What do you think happens in 90 days when these young soldiers have 20 grand in the bank? You think they're going to go to church on a regular basis? You think they're going to volunteer? No, they're going to party. Okay, and they're going to think back, and they think they don't need a job right away. And so what happens is they become complacent. I've seen soldiers fall into this routine, and then they wait 90 days, and then finally the unit will get a hold of them. They come back in, and they're just not the same. It's like they're different soldiers, and then they know they have to get a job, and they didn't realize how hard it was to get a job, and now all of a sudden they have to do resumes, and then they have to get interviews and something that they've never experienced before. This is the transitional side of soldiers coming back. So I want you to address this as well, Kathy, on what is needed for these soldiers when they come back.
What's needed when they come back is really pretty simple, is to stop what they're doing when they're being trained. There's this thing that they started doing called resiliency training. That resiliency training is actually adding to the suicide outcome. These guys are told, guess what? You can train your brain to be resilient and emotionally tough, which is also translating into their brains. If you get PTSD, you're emotionally weak. The most repulsive thing about veterans committing suicide and current militaries committing suicide, oh, by the way, which these groups do not talk about, is the fact that they have been not only trained to do their jobs, not only trained to be resilient. The most repulsive thing is that these guys value life so much, they're willing to die to save someone else. They are willing to go through whatever they have to do to save the lives of the ones that they're with. They are willing to do anything to save the lives of strangers. Yet these guys can't figure out how their own life is of value, and they should be asking for help, because it is the strength of their emotional core that is devastating them, because that's where PTSD lives.
Kathy, you are locked on with that statement, where PTSD lives. So what do you think the best treatment is?
No one-size-fits-all solution. It just has to be, you got to take care of all of you, which means your mind, your body, your spirit. Go to the VA, you get diagnosed, that's number one, and get diagnosed as soon as possible. Because as soon as you start getting help, PTSD stops losing control of your life. You end up getting control back, so you can take back your life instead of thinking about ending your life. You've got to take care of your body. Your body has to learn how to calm down again. So for some it's Tai Chi. For some it's yoga. For some it's something as simple as taking a walk, going for a swim, kayaking, skiing, water things like even, fishing, whatever. Whatever works for you. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. So if it's working for your buddy and it's not working for you, you go find something else to do. And you find what you are comfortable doing. You can get into doing art. You can get into doing writing. You can get into doing music. Whatever works for you, stick with it.
Chaplain Kathy, you're right. I have a list right here of some of the categories that can help with the treatment, and you hit on quite a few of them. Meditation, relaxing, Tai Chi. Also, biofeedback with a service dog. Virtual reality exposure therapy. We have hyperbasic oxygen therapy. I mean, some of these things are just out there. Complementary alternative treatment, self-myofascial release therapy, progressive muscle relaxation, transcendental guided imagery. This sounds like doctors get involved into the PTSD industry. They see the money that's being made with it, and big groups like the Koch brothers. Can you share a little bit of light on what you know about the Koch brothers getting involved with the VA?
Well, there's been this nasty little secret that Congress actually used to be ashamed to talk about, and that is privatizing the VA. The problem with that is very simple. They've had control over the VA since 1946, and if you look them up online, look up the House Veterans Affairs Committee. See what they're responsible for. All of these people that have been elected since then need to be apologizing to veterans for saying, you matter to us. We care about you. We're going to fix your problems. Look up the history of everything that's going on, because none of this stuff is new. You had John Boehner and John McCain, who were actually proudly saying they wanted to privatize the VA. In other words, send veterans into the same care the rest of us are dealing with, and nobody's reporting on, because we have to wait for appointments too. We have trouble getting in to see doctors and specialists. We die waiting too. We end up being in pain too. Problem is, Congress is responsible for the way veterans are treated.
Well, Kathy, that brings up one known fact. You know, it was last reported in 2013 about 53 veterans die every day waiting for the benefits to kick in as the VA deals with that huge backlog of claims that has piled up to about 900,000. Now, we got this report from the Daily Beast, reported that. And then you have Paul Sullivan, who's a veteran outreach director at law firm Bergman and Moore. And he wants the Veteran Benefits Administration to revamp its computer system so claims can be processed quickly and accurately. So right now, nearly 1 million veterans now wait 9 months for their veterans' benefits to kick in. Decision that is wrong as much as 30% of the time. So now you got family members of close to 19,500 who died waiting for benefits collected for $436.9 million in 2012. That was reported by the Baltimore Sun. So I hear from veterans, veterans' wives, and veterans' widows who are distraught because they are waiting for a claim to be adjudicated. There's a feeling of hopelessness, a feeling that you are up against an uncaring, unfailing bureaucracy. And that's what we're fighting for, is these widow warriors, the DIC, which is Dependent Indemnity Compensation for these widow warriors as well. So tell me more about Paul Sullivan. You know a little bit about his history, Kath.
Paul Sullivan, I met him. Oh my God, this guy is fabulous. He was with Veterans for Common Sense, and if you know anything about the VA coming out with any of these suicide reports and research and everything else, Paul's pretty much one of the ones that's responsible for that, because they actually filed suit. They filed Freedom of Information Act and got the reports of the VA and actually got the emails when they were trying to hush up what they did actually know about. Now you got to keep in mind that those numbers were from veterans committing suicide that were in the VA system, which that's another whole conundrum right there, because most of the veterans in this country do not go to the VA, they're not in the VA system. But Paul, he has been a fighter for veterans for a long time. I mean, we've seen a lot over the years. We're talking about decades of claims hitting 1 million, 100,000s, everything else. The thing that those widows and widowers need to remember is they can keep those claims moving. The claim does not die when the veteran dies. If it's in process, they keep that claim moving. Go to the DAV, go to the VFW, go to the American Legion, get some of these service officers to help you move those claims. Don't give up that fight.
Oh, you bring up a good topic. Don't give up the fight. We're on the eve of Vietnam Veterans Day, national holiday. And it's not an exaggeration to conclude that millions of veterans were unknowingly exposed to toxic chemicals without a clue. Yes, Agent Orange, right? Unlike corporations who can be sued for exposing their employees to toxic chemicals, no, not the Department of Defense, is insulated from tort suits by veterans who are limited by law to filing VA disability claims. So dependents can sue for injuries or damages under the Federal Tort Claim Act, FTCA. Remember that, ladies. Remember that acronym. But Congress made specific exceptions to the act, resulting in the dismissal of many lawsuits. So let's keep in mind what these Congress have got to remember to start fighting for us, because all 435 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives and 33 of 100 seats in the U.S. Senate will be contested in 2018, people, and that's right around the corner, coming in November. So there are about 22 million veterans in this country. We veterans need to let our voices be heard, like this show is doing right now with me and Kathy. So it is your representative. It needs to be co-sponsor of some of these HRs. Here's one right now, HR 809, HR 4369. This is the time to let our congressmen know about how we feel about veterans' sacrifice that have been being diminished. And Congress is not doing their job. So they got to get going on supporting our veterans, or we're just going to vote them out of office. What do you think about Kathy?
I think that anybody that you listen to their speeches and they say, we care, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, they need to start off with something really simple, like an apology. Why haven't they done this so far? If their goal has been to privatize the VA, they had to kill it first. That meant veterans suffered in the meantime. What is their goal? Do these people understand veterans prepaid for their care, especially when they became disabled. They are not civilians. They should never, ever be treated like civilians. These are the same senators and congressmen who keep saying our health care is a mess, but yet they want to send veterans who prepaid for their care into the same mess the rest of us are dealing with. Is that right? No. They need to apologize.
I agree. Apologies are good for the soul, which brings up that third body, mind, and spirit. So let's talk about the spirit a little bit. Reminds me of a verse in the Bible, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Can you touch on that spiritual aspect of healing with PTSD, with the spiritual side?
When someone is tugged to do what you guys do every day, risk your lives. Put your lives on the line for the people that you're with. You are tugged for a reason. It is in your soul. God does not screw up. Everything you need to do that job, your courage, your compassion, your tenacity, your willingness to go through all kinds of hardships and just keep going and going and going. All is in there, and guess what? The thing nobody tells you about, your ability to heal from doing all of that is already inside of you. My job for the last 30 some odd years, working on 36 now, has just been to connect the dots. All I do is just lead you to everything that is inside of you already.
That is profound, Kathy. Your spirit alone is starting to resonate me. I can imagine how the audience, and so how can the audience reach out to you?
Every Sunday morning I'm doing these empowerment videos. It's PTSD Patrol. The videos are going up on YouTube and they're up on my site. And they're all just inspirational messages helping you understand what PTSD is, but giving you the power to, as I said before, take back your life. Your life from this moment on is in your control. Stop surrendering it.
Okay, so Sunday morning, the day is reflect. So where do they go, or actually, Kathy, on Sunday morning?
You go to PTSD Patrol, and that takes you right onto my site. The videos are up there, and usually I have a short thing. They're usually up by about 11 o'clock. It's a new thing we started. If you're looking for information, Combat PTSD, Wounded Times. I track news reports and government reports across the country, and then you find out what is going on all over the country. From little tiny towns, because local level reporters are doing the best reports on what is actually going on. National reporters, they don't have a clue.
Clueless. You mean no impact, no idea. All right, let's get back into the Trump's administration targeted disabled veterans in 2017. I bet you weren't aware of that. Regardless of the lip service from the White House, it's clear that veterans' benefits are a target of opportunity. Washington, D.C., right from the Washington, D.C., last year the Trump administration's budget proposal attempted to reduce federal spending on the backs of disabled veterans who were unemployable. Get ready for Bohica. Individual unemployability is a part of VA's disability compensation program that allows the VA to pay certain veterans disability compensation at the 100% rate, even though the VA has not rated their service-connected disabilities at the total level. And there's also another term they use is permanent and total. Now, Kat, can you touch up on that permanent and total phrase?
Permanent and total. Oh yeah, that's a big joke. When you stop and think, these veterans that couldn't work anymore, guess what? Stop paying to the Social Security system. When they lose their 100% rating, we're not talking about a few dollars. We are talking about a magnitude of misery. They lose. If they are tax exempt on their homes, they lose that. They're no longer 100%. They lose thousands of dollars in income. They lose complete total care as far as they are losing their dental. They will lose their vision care. they will lose anything not tied to their claim.
You know, there is more than enough fat in the federal budget to cut than to go after the benefits paid to disabled veterans. Veterans signed on to IOU to the government to give their lives, if necessary, to protect the freedoms that all Americans enjoy. Those who were disabled from military service deserve not only a thank you for your service, but the VA benefits they earned with their sweat and blood. It didn't work in 2017. The battle is not over. Look for another effort this year and in the foreseeable future. Unless individual unemployability is codified into law, it will continue to remain a target for cost reductions. Okay, it's in the sniper hairs, okay? So on November 9, 2017, Representative Maxine Waters from California, believe it or not, introduced H.R. 4369. Get out your pen, folks. H.R. 4369. Protecting Benefits for Disabled Veterans Act of 2017. The bill would codify regulations of individual unemployability IU into federal law. This is what you got to call Congress. Call your congressman. Send an email. Send a text. Get them on the phone and bring up to back H.R. 4369. At this time, I'd like to get out your pen and write down this Facebook page. Remember the Fallen. I'm going to have up on my files all the phone numbers for congressmen in the United States. So you can make that phone call, okay, and just leave a message about these important, these ratifies things that we got to do. HR 4369. So it's almost rack ops. It's almost dark 30, Kath. I'm going to let you close out the show with your 36 years of experience.
One thing I know is for sure is that when you have all these charities just making money, because the American people love the veterans. They love the troops. They respect them. Damn it, stop writing checks and start fighting for them. Get on the phone, get busy, and start making sure these veterans stop hearing the bullshit of, oh, I'm sorry. Because they've never heard that. They just end up hearing, let's blame the secretary, let's blame this, let's blame that, instead of blame themselves. Get these guys to actually do the jobs that they were elected to do, because they are the ones that sent all those veterans into all these wars that they sent them to do. They made the promises, and then it was, see ya, thanks for your service, bye.
No, thank you for your service, Kathy. 36 years. What a pioneer. She's under the radar, though, so you won't see her on Dr. Phil. You'll see her on her website. You got to go there, www.combatptsdwoundedtimes.org. We will definitely have Chaplain Kathy back on again. But I think one of the most important remedies is basically employment. Let's talk employment. I mean, the first show I mentioned about, Trump's breaking records. 155 million employed Americans, the most ever. Well, let's throw at least 5 million towards veterans in the next 5 years. If we can do that, Prez, we would help a lot in our situation, because I'm going to show you some stats with you right now. Full-time, right now, there's only 28% of injured are actually working right now, and 40% are working that are not injured military. Part-time's all the same, the 6% across the board injured or not injured, but not employed. 49% that are injured are not employed, and 33% that are not injured are employed, working. Now, out of these injured vets, 40% had flashbacks, distressing memories, or recurring nightmares about an emotional, traumatic experience that they had in the military. And yes, I am one of the 40%. And after my rollover accident, Power 1 Providence of Afghanistan in 2004, I had an emotional, traumatic experience. Our 8-ton vehicle swerved to avoid a landmine in 2004. There were still over 10 million landmines all over Afghanistan back then, and they were planted by the Russians and Taliban. And when you know, we were all almost a landmine statistic in 2004. Well, so when the injured soldiers from Iraq and Afghanistan were coming back to the VAs, the only solution back then was to over-medicate our returning soldiers with injuries. So while I was trapped in that feubar of over-medicating our returning soldiers with injuries, I received a concussion. My Kevlar popped out when we rolled over twice. I also was bleeding from lacerations of my head, and the rest were internal injuries, a twisted coccyx, partial torn ACL, hematoma the size of a football on my right thigh, nerve damage in my right shoulder and elbow, and lost half of my fingernail on my left ring finger. And believe it or not, that is the only physical sign of injury, is an indented fingernail. Now, with those injuries, they gave me trazodone and methocarbone to sleep. Well, my nightmares got worse, so I took myself off the trazodone and took the recreational therapy method approach and bought a used tandem kayak and started going out and enjoying God's gift to us, Mother Nature. Went fishing numerous times, caught mangrove snapper, and practically stumbled across a girl when I was working a temporary job for the census, and the rest is history. Now, on occasion, I still get the recurring nightmares, but not bad for testing 4 out of 11 categories for PTSD. So the doctors at the VA consider that is a low percent, so there's nothing in my file that states PTSD because they would probably have to compensate me for it, and they don't. So Oscar Tango Mike on the move with this audience. Let's find a passionate philanthropist who will fund used tandem kayaks for soldiers returning back from IAV, which stands for Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. These soldiers that have the signs of PTSD and it's in their VA file, and go the recreational therapy route and cut back on all of these over-medicating drugs. If we can create a team of teams, we can have a one fundraising group that will purchase the tandem kayaks or used or single kayaks, whatever one works. Our fundraising group will collect used fishing rods and tackle gear. And then a third fundraising group would purchase the fishing license and a 2-night stay at Camp America, which is only $25 a night. More than likely, these soldiers have tents, and some might have a pop-up camper like me. So we call this new plight IAV Yaks. So who in the audience wants to lead from the front in this? If this called out to you, or if you know of a friend, a family member or a friend, you can email Sergeant Dave at KLRNRadio.com to assist in building a team of teams. Or even if you're a lone wolf, that's okay too. The important thing, we use this show's platform to make a difference for veterans that have the hidden scars from combat. Well, it's that time, Rack Ops. Be sure to see me next week, hear me next week at Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and visit me at my Twitter handle, Sergeant Dave at Heroic Memorials. And if you want something unique on the show, you can email me at sergeantdave@klrnradio.com. Tell your friends about this show. I need some audience. We have a platform. We can get things done, and we'll get the word out to appropriations for our military veterans' health issues and compensation. And Pop Smoke out.